Hey guys, welcome to my freelancing series. I'm Shandice. For those of you who are new, I'm a writer, author, marketing professional, and I also own a creative marketing business. I am passionate about women and women being independent financially, and I wanted to share some tips which has helped me to gain financial independence and just make extra money in so many creative ways. It doesn't matter whether you have a 9-to-5, you are a business owner, entrepreneur, or you are a student. If you clicked on this video because you are interested in turning your gifts and skill sets into additional income, then you have clicked the right video, because I will be sharing all the tips that have helped me. I'm going to break this series up into maybe 5 to 6 videos, and my plan is to end the series with a Q&A. If you're new to the concept of freelancing, here's a quick overview. Freelancing is pretty much using your skills, gifts, or educational background to provide a service to a business or an individual in exchange for income. More than likely, you'll be working with your clients on a per project basis. Unless you have another understanding, you will have an hourly price in place or a set price per project. One thing that I do know is that everything is getting more expensive, and maybe you get a monthly or weekly paycheck and you're realizing like, this money is not stretching as far as it used to, and you may want to even just have additional income for holidays like Christmas. You might be saving for an upcoming trip. Whatever it is that you want additional money for, I'm going to lay out some steps that you can take to get started freelancing. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background. I am a marketer. I studied marketing and TV production. I was interning with the BBC when I was 18, went into marketing, also have a master's in social science, and I guess my experience is kind of wrapped into media, marketing, and social science, and the psychology of marketing. In my early career, had a lot of jobs that I hated. The typical story when you're finishing school, everyone doesn't get their dream job straight out of school. I certainly didn't. So when I actually decided that, hey, I really want to get more into marketing, I started off as a marketing assistant, went on to a specialist, have had manager roles, and then decided that I wanted to become a freelancer and work for myself. So I have been freelancing for just shy of 3 years. I have so much to share. It's been a very interesting ride, but one thing I will say is that it has really transformed my life. I have flexibility, I have freedom, I have creative freedom, and I also feel as if I've become more of myself in the process, being able to work with different teams and being able to really stretch myself in ways that I maybe would not have if I had stayed in my previous position. Whatever reason you may have for wanting to have additional income, my sole purpose for this series is really just to empower you to really take that step through sharing knowledge that has helped me and also sharing my experiences. So one thing that I will be doing closer to the end of this series, I will be creating a video that is focused more on the business of freelancing if it is something that you want to take full time. But right now we're going to focus on how you can make additional money using your skills and your gifts. So the first thing you're going to do is identify what you are good at. And one way that you can do this, which I think is probably the easiest way, is to get a piece of paper and divide that paper into 2. So then on the left, you are going to write natural gifts, and on the right, you are going to write learned skills. Now, this is why I think it's so important to have 2 sections. For the natural gifts, I want you to write down everything that just comes naturally to you. Maybe you're just a really good speaker, write that down. Maybe you're a really good writer. So for me, I love writing. I've always loved writing, and I've always felt as if that was a natural skill of mine. So for me, in my natural gifts, I would put writer. And then in the learned skills section, think of it more from the perspective of things that you have learned over time. So maybe you've done a degree in business and management, and through that course, you have become a really good project manager. Or maybe within your job, you have been the one to host conferences or host events. And because of that, you are now a really good event coordinator. Whatever your learned skills may be, write a full list of them, because this is going to now help us determine what we can get paid to do. I've created a visual representation of this method so that you can see exactly how you can make it work for you. As you see on my left column under natural gifts, I have writing, encouraging and inspiring others, being creative, organized and resourceful. And you may be wondering, what does being resourceful have to do with getting freelance clients? Well, for one, I think something that's powerful about the left column is it gives you an opportunity to boost your confidence and to remind you what you are capable of. Resourcefulness for me means having the ability to create something out of nothing. So when I'm creating my portfolio, I can organize my work in a way that communicates I am creative, I am resourceful, and I am organized. So those themes will radiate through the work that I do and how I carry myself. So in the Learn Skills section, as you can see, the first thing I wrote was copywriter, which is a little bit different than being a good writer. So me saying I have the natural gift of a writer, knowing that I know how to put a sentence or two together, doesn't automatically mean that I am good at writing marketing ads. This is something that I had to learn. I had to do courses to learn how to write for social media, to learn how to write for marketing campaigns. All those things required me to take my gift up a notch. So if you find that once you write your natural gifts, you may be thinking, how can I really bring this gift to the next level? Maybe I have to do a short course. Maybe I have to spend a little bit more time cultivating that gift. Whatever you see, it's really an opportunity for you to look at both columns and make them work together for your good. So once you have your list and you can see what your natural gifts are and what your learned skills are, ask yourself, what wouldn't I mind getting paid to do? So in my case, writing and marketing strategy. You have a natural gift, which obviously natural gifts still need work. You obviously need to continue to cultivate a gift to make it even better. And then you have learned skills, marketing strategy. So for me, those were two areas that I thought I can make extra money doing these things. Next tip, you have to ask yourself, how can I prove it? So it's not enough for me to say that I'm a writer, and it's not enough for me to say I'm a marketing strategist. I need to be able to prove this, because whenever you might be pitching to companies or you might have the opportunity to be a part of a project, more times than not, people want to see what you are good at. They want to see your gift, your talents, and your skills in action. I do understand that this is not always possible depending on what you do. For example, if you are a events coordinator or an events manager, I mean, you're not going to just put on an event just for them to say, hey, I can do events. But one thing you can do is that you can share a portfolio of your testimonials. You can show images from some of the events. You can have a summary write-up of what you did, how you did it, and what the outcome was from putting that event together. So for me as a writer, one thing that I did in my early stages, because I wasn't a freelance writer at the beginning, and even though I wrote a lot on my blog and for myself, a lot of what I wrote was more faith-based or to do with just my personal pursuits with Dare Purposeful Woman. For those of you who may not know, I have a community organization called Dare Purposeful Woman. So I would write newsletters and I would do workshops, but it wouldn't always translate into, let's say, the tech world. So before I had a portfolio, what I would do is literally just create articles, create posts, and put those in my portfolio. Then as I started to get clients, I would then use all the work that I had done with those clients to then add into my portfolio. So I'm gonna break this down one more time. Ask yourself, how can I prove this skill? So for me as a writer, I would write blog posts, I would write articles, and I would basically put all my writing in a portfolio so that my clients or potential clients could see my work and also see my work in diverse ways. From a business perspective, from a personal perspective, from how I am able to capture an audience through my words. There's all different ways to look at it, but depending on your client, you're going to think about how can I prove my work to them. So my next tip is showcasing your proof. Thinking about how are you going to compile this information. So for me, a simple portfolio of me literally adding the titles of articles that I've written and linking to those articles, and people can view them that way. Google folders, I would include different articles and things that I have written, whether it be newsletters, in a folder so that people could view only and see the different work that I've done. And then more so from, like, let's say a marketing strategy side, I would not always share a full strategy, but I would share pictures of the campaign and then saying, hey, 5,000 people signed up to this campaign and I managed this aspect, that aspect. You don't always have to give all the sauce away, you know, like you can be very strategic with what you share, but the main thing is just proving I've done this before and I can do it again. And if you are currently in a 9-to-5, this is a good opportunity for you to think to yourself, what have I done at my job within the last month which I could potentially replicate outside of my 9-to-5, right? And then find ways within your job to then take that information and create a portfolio to show this is what I've done and this is how I can do it again. And one thing I would say is, once you are not sharing classified information, you do not want to share confidential information with freelance clients. So you have to be really strategic about how you manage that process. Sometimes it might be as simple as saying you were the project manager for this project and kind of doing a summary of that project and a link to where people could register, and then you just writing down from your perspective how you made this event so much better, right? You don't have to go digging into your company's data and information to maybe share information that you shouldn't be. So really be mindful of that if you are in a 9-to-5 right now and you want to make extra money through using your skill sets that you use at your job right now. So now that you have identified what you're good at and you know how you're going to make that extra money, and you also have a way to show and showcase your work, next you may be wondering, so how do I find clients? How do I get people to work with? And I will be talking about pricing in a dedicated video, because I think when it comes to pricing, a lot of it has to do with mindset, and I will be exploring that more in part 2. So for right now, I don't want you to get all stressed out like, oh my gosh, how much do I charge to make this cake? How much do I charge to write this article? Like, how much do I charge to do this project management gig? It's like, for right now, it's really about knowing what you have on offer and confidently standing behind that and having proof. So that's really what we're focusing on for this video. It's just you taking those first steps into getting your mind in a space that you're like, I have the ability to make extra money doing something that I'm good at. I don't have to be doing the most. I don't have to learn a whole new skill. Start where you are and developing from there is so important to me, because I know for myself, like, I have spent so much time in the past thinking that this was so much bigger than it was, thinking that it was impossible for me. Like, how can I make money as a writer? Knowing how much I love to write, I'm realizing that it was always within my reach. I just had to position myself and believe. And from there, it really, people started coming to me. And another bonus is there are so many websites right now that are hiring freelancers. I can only really speak for the marketing and creative media field because that's my background. But if you are in the marketing field, I would definitely say check out We Are Rosie. I love We Are Rosie. They are a community of freelancers that have so many opportunities. There is something for everyone, and I am currently even doing a contract with them, which I love and has been one of the best opportunities to date. And one thing that has been so amazing for me, like, I really want to put this into perspective. And as I was saying, like, I'm not saying go and quit your job to become a freelancer, but from my perspective of why this has been so meaningful for me is I've really been able to create the life that I love. So for example, I don't work on Fridays anymore. And it's insane to me to think, like, I make so much more money now than I did even when I worked full time. And another thing I'm not gonna do, I'm not gonna beautify this process and say, it was so easy, I just quit my job and then everything just came together. I am really grateful that when I did start freelancing, that I did actually start to make money fairly quickly. But it took me a long time to even get to that point because I had so many mental blocks. Like, it's insane how I held myself back. But when I did start making money, it did vary. Like, at the beginning, I would like one check, I would have like $6,000 when I was so used to making $1,300 every 2 weeks. Like, it really varied. And then some weeks I wouldn't make that much. But what has happened now after 3 years of being a consistent freelancer, I can honestly say that I have truly created the financial life that I love. And my goals are continuing to stretch. At this point, I'm like, what can't I do? What can't I accomplish? Money is always within my reach. I don't chase money. I don't dream for money because I know that I can make it. It takes time to get to that mindset, but I'm excited to really explore mindset in part 2. Even if you are working full time, with the extra money that you can create by freelancing or doing whatever you decide to do on the side, you don't know how that could potentially transform your life. Right? That extra $500 a week or extra $1,000 a month, however much you want to make, it's possible. You can use that money to continue to create a life that you love in whatever ways that means for you, whether it be like, hey, I want to hire a personal trainer because I want to get in the best shape of my life. I want to be the fittest I've ever been. Or it might be as simple as saying this extra $500 a month is going to help to put my child in daycare. Whatever the reason is that you want to make extra money, I just want to let you know that it's possible. And I'm really excited to continue this series and to just share as much as I can. I really hope that you found this video beneficial. As I said, feel free to share questions that you may have in the comment section, and I'll be sure to get to them in my Q&A video, which I will be doing at the end of this series. So give me a thumbs up if you're excited about part 2, and I'll see you in my next one.